No, it's not a lie. No, I did not use corruption. But yes, I am a Zimbabwean girl who finally managed to secure an appointment so they could go to Germany and become an au pair. How did I do this? What were my timelines like? Let's talk more about it in this video where I tell you everything about my experiences, what my expectations were going into it, and what actually ended up happening. I know it's hectic. I know many people want to do this, but they know the process is so discouraging and hectic. And it's true, it is. I outgrew the need for this experience through my waiting period, but I ultimately chose to take it because it was very long. I wanted to be an au pair when I was 21 years of age, and I'm turning 24 this year. Is it worth it? Is it not? I'm not really sure, but I think I can tell you what that was like for me and give you some intel. But before we get into it, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like this video, turn on your post notifications, and please leave a comment, interact with me, follow me on my social media, KF Shamian on Twitter, Instagram, and my favorite platform. Now, I can't believe Twitter has been overtaken by TikTok, but I am in love. I am in love with the kids' dancing app, and that's what there is to it. So let's go. So like most Zimbabweans, my process begins with being completely overwhelmed, going through an existential crisis and deciding something needs to change. I actually wanted to learn German because I thought I could then experience free education if I went to Germany. And things ended up being a little bit different. When I was going over the website, because people don't share this information, even people who I knew who came to Germany years ago didn't share how they went to Germany or anywhere because that's what we do. And maybe I'm not that much difference because I didn't share the process as it was happening. But now that I have more information, I am, whatever. So that's what happened. So as I was looking for information on how I could basically just pivot, maybe come here and learn and do something, go to uni, experience something different because I was sick. I wasn't going back to South Africa. I'd been there, done that, traumatized myself. And Zimbabwe wasn't the place for me as well. Traumatized me. So I thought, let me try this place. Let me go to Germany. And as I was looking into it, I found out I could be an au pair and the requirements were quite low. You only need A1 German and that's it. That's all you need. A1 German. And I thought to myself, this is an excellent idea. I can definitely convince my father to pay for this and let me go and be an au pair. And so I spoke to my parents and I told them I wanted to be an au pair. This was in 2019 and the next class was only starting in the beginning of 2020. So we decided to pay to reserve my place. And in 2020, I started my course, my A1 course. In my head, I was going to do this course over 9 weeks. And then over the 9 weeks, I was going to book my appointment, find my host family, so that by week 10, 11, 12, I'm actually packing my bags and going to Berlin. That's literally what I had in mind. That's literally what had been happening for years before that. And if you speak to au pairs who tried to come here or who came here before, let's say mid 2019 to, I don't know, just mid 2019 and before, they would walk into the embassy. You basically would find a family whenever you wanted, walk into the embassy, and you're good to go. It no longer worked like that. And so it was very surprising for me to walk into Goethe after already investing the money. I paid about 14,000 RTGS in 2019. I don't know what the rate was, but I think it's supposed to be something like 650 US dollars now. But then it was for my A1 including exam, which is 110 at Goethe. Everyone pays this if you're learning German. It doesn't matter if you go to another university, to another school, another institution. You still have to pay the 110. And then I also had in it an au pair training, including a first aid course. And so I was so surprised to get there and find out people were not getting appointments. And it was basically nearly impossible for you to get an appointment. In fact, people were now paying hundreds of dollars to professional appointment makers or whatever, which definitely upset the embassy. They literally hate it. To this day, they would tell you they don't work with any third parties who make appointments. And so they shut the entire system down. No one knew when you could get an appointment. No one knew how it was happening. There were no appointments. Whenever you went on the platform, it would tell you there are no dates available for the next 3 months, for the next 4 months, there was no appointment available. And people guessed that maybe there's times, anytime during the day, they could open up the platform and you would be able to get, an appointment. And so now I'm thinking, okay, I've already invested this much money. I have to get an appointment. I'm not willing to pay anyone $600 or whatever ridiculous amount of money people were paying. And so I was trying to do it on my own. Didn't work out for me. And then we ended up being put in a lockdown. So with a lockdown, no one was moving, no one was going anywhere. And because we were not prepared to go into online class, literally everything stopped. I was pretty relaxed about it because in my head, no one was making progress in life anyway. So it didn't really bother me. But I had to wait, and I only started my German class again in August, had to redo everything online, and then we ended up writing our exam in November. The system was the same. We didn't know when they were opening. You couldn't find any dates. And I think they even changed it to the point where no one could make an appointment. And so here I was not being able to make an appointment, but still hopeful because you've invested this money into it. So I decided to do my A2. Because I thought, okay, it's probably better. We've been told if you do A2, it's even better. Do A2. Don't come here and be an au pair without A2. That's the minimum. You need that. Regardless, don't listen to them when they say you need only A1. You need A2. So I started A2, and I was thinking, okay, I think the pandemic is going to be over. This is in 2021. I'm like, okay, the pandemic is getting there. We haven't had Delta yet. We haven't had Omicron yet. And I was thinking, we're definitely near the end now. So let me do my A2. At the end of it, I go. It didn't work out like that. I ended up writing my exam in July of 2021 with no clue as to when I would actually go anywhere or whatever. I think at that point, I didn't really know what progress meant. But what had happened was early 2021, because of all the people who are interested, they launched an au pair waiting list. And the au pair waiting list was basically supposed to remove this issue where people had to search for an appointment and do all these things like they'd been doing previously or not knowing when that happened. And so you basically put your name on the waiting list, put your passport details, put everything in, and then as and when they could, you would be invited to an interview. So now that was even worse because I didn't know when I was going to be invited to the interview. And because I put my name at 9 a.m. on Feb 1st, right when they launched the waiting list, I felt like, okay, I was a little bit early. I didn't know how the process was going to go, what exactly I would do. If I was called tomorrow, when were they going to call me? They only ended up calling me in October of 2021. And that was crazy. But I'd already done my A2. I didn't know what was going to go on. It was like starting to fade for me. I think I even wanted to enroll with a UNISA because I decided I want to study something. My German kind of interest had waned. And then I got invited in October. And all those feelings came up for me. Started looking for a family. I was very strict with it. I interviewed quite a few families. I think I interviewed 5 families. Not finding what I liked, but I was being really picky, choosing and all these things as if we're in high demand. After that disaster, we're not in high demand, guys. They really just want au pairs who are already in the EU or who can walk into the EU immediately, especially when things are still the pandemic is still fresh in our minds. So I went through with everything, thinking I was going to be at least early January. I was going to be in Berlin. I didn't even want to jinx it. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to waste time. So I thought I was going to go immediately. And yeah, so I went. I can't believe this. Guys, a few days before my appointment, Southern Africa was put on the red list for Omicron. And I got an email telling me I had canceled my appointment. I was hysterical. And in that moment, I decided I wasn't going to put myself through things like this again because that's the person that I am. I really didn't. And I think that was just the nail on the coffin. It was me deciding this wasn't going to be the journey for me. And even right now, as I sit here, I think that those feelings are still there for me. I just knew the journey wasn't there enough for me. I had outgrown it. It wasn't going to be this exchange year that I wanted. I'm grown. I'm not 21 anymore. I'm turning 24 years of age. I have different goals, different dreams, but sometimes we just have to enjoy things. And so I had found a family, the same family I'm with right now, but I didn't even think they were going to wait for me like that, you know. In my head, I just decided, you know what, this is not going to work. We're on the red list. Africa, this is doomed, basically. Let me just start planning and envisioning my life the way it is right now, not with plans of places that I want to go, all these travel plans. I'm not doing that. And then I told my parents I wasn't going to do it. I sent them an email. They explained to me what was going on. And then I ended up getting an invite. I think on the 10th of January, I got an invite back to the embassy. And what was funny now was after me deciding I was going to school and all of that, my dad convinced me it was better for me to come to Germany as a student. So I was like, okay. And I think it made sense for him because it's an investment my parents had made. They'd made the language investment. So I ended up doing B1. I was evaluated at B1.1, and so the school told me to just take B1.2, which was fine. So I had completed my B1, or I was in the process of doing my B1.2, and then I got an invite to the embassy on the 10th of January, and the appointment was for the 24th of January. Now, bearing in mind that I started this journey in 2021, I had like 3 years on my passport, if not more. I can't do the math. Someone help me, whatever. I had years. I started, sorry, not in 2021. In 2019, I had 3 years on my passport. Now I have this appointment on the 24th of January. And according to the embassy, they want your passport to have at least 18 months if you want to come here. And I had, I think, 13 months. I knew it was a disaster, but then I decided I was going to show up. No, I didn't decide I was going to show up. I decided I wasn't going to go. And my parents knew, even when I sent them the invite, literally I was just in a daze. I was like, how can they do this? What is this? Is this a joke to them? Am I a joke to them? And so I didn't want to go. I didn't want to even do anything about it. I knew my mom was going to be like, you have to go. It's a good opportunity. My parents were going to say the same thing, both of them, because they're literally one person sharing a brain cell. I don't know, thinking the same. And then in that moment, I say to myself, because the finding a family thing was really brutal for me. I was interviewing some racists, ridiculous people. I interviewed people I didn't feel like the children and I would gel. Some people who wanted to be taken care of themselves as adults. Some people who had children 2 under 1. Who does that? I needed an au pair or something crazy like that. And so I was like, I'm not going through this again. So I sent an email to my this host family, and I said, I got an invite again. Are you still interested? And they said, we're definitely interested. I was so annoyed because in my head I was thinking, okay, this was going to be my ticket out of this. This was going to be my one reason for telling my family I wasn't going to go or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And literally I had contracts, I had all the information. They were literally checking up on me and sending me things and, you know, sharing their excitement with me. And I was like, okay, I have to go. They don't even know this, but they were instrumental in convincing me to even come here after I'd quit on, like, let go of this thing, this wild dream already. And I wasn't even talking to people about it. My best friend knew about it. Yeah, but that was really it. I had moved on with my life, but now I had to do this, and the time frame was really slow, really quick, I mean. And so give me my contract. I go to the embassy on the 24th, do my interview, hand in all my documents, whatever. And the lady who checks your documents initially just says to me, okay, so we have this rule, your passport doesn't have enough days. I acted so shocked because what else could I do? So I had to pretend I was shocked. I was not in fact shocked, but I had to. And then she talks to me about it. She's like, okay, I think you're going to have to get a new passport. Then I was like, okay, you know what, that's fine. I was going to get a passport, an emergency passport. Waste of my time, I should have gotten an e-passport, but we learn and we live. I was going to get an e-passport so I could meet my contract start date, which was the 10th of Feb, but I ended up coming here on the 21st of Feb. So I go into the interview room, do the interview. If you don't have A2, they're going to interview you in German. I was only asked, do you understand me in German? And I said yes, and I explained that I was currently doing my B1. And so yes, you're not subject to further review if you have A2 or more. And then she was like, no, we're not going to cancel this. We're going to accept your application, but please go and get a passport. Then I had to inform, I felt like such an inconvenience, as if it was my personal fault, because my family had waited already for me. Then they had to have this information, and then they had to wait for me because the passport is bust. I had to communicate all these things. And so in that rush and that state of wanting a difference, I decided to apply for an emergency passport because I thought it would be out in 3 days instead of 5 days, 5 working days. And I could do 3 working days easy and not 5 working days. My passport ended up taking 5 working days, if not more. I think I wasted 2 weeks on my passport. I don't even know what happened. And so at the end of the day, it was much easier for me to wait in line and just get an e-passport. I wish I knew that that's the only thing that I would change. So I have a passport that doesn't work, or that won't be working after 2023 or something like that, that I paid a premium for. I can't believe it. Then I went back to the embassy. I literally left my passport at the gate because they didn't even want to see my face. And then I think I left it on a Monday, and the following Tuesday, they told me to come get my passport. Took my passport, took my visa, and I think the following week on a Monday is when I finally got there. So that really was my journey coming here. So in terms of costs, let me just break it down to people. You're not going to need $600 only. Being an au pair is a costly thing, and I'm going to talk about it. I think for a lot of people who want their children out, you don't think of certain costs. So if you go at Goethe, I know there are other colleges out there that help you, teach you, whatever. I can't comment on the effectiveness of those institutions. I'm very happy with the education that I got, and the people that I met, the resources that I had available to me, and certain comforts. But I paid $650 once, 600 for A2, 650 A1 with the au pair course and the exam and blah, 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 including my first aid course. And then I paid 600 for my A2 exam only and the B1, the A2. And then for B1, I did not do it with Goethe. I used a German-based institution called the Deutsche Academy, and I paid about $295 for me to do B1.2 only. That's only half the syllabus, the last half. So it's very costly. Over and above that, you're going to do tests. If you want to be an au pair, they're going to ask you to do some invasive tests. You're going to need to pay for your medical examination. You're going to have to pay for tests like, I think you pay for I don't know, like communicable disease, I suppose. HIV, they love to test us for that. TB, I don't know what the test was. And then just a general bill of health, you get that. Then you're going to need to buy clothes. You need to factor that in. You pay for your own airplane ticket. You can buy a direct flight. I bought a flight to South Africa. Then I wanted to do things in South Africa. These costs, those are personal costs. There's certain things that you're going to do on your own because they give you luxury, I suppose. They give you certain comforts that you want. And then when you get here, you're going to need money. You're not going to be paid on your first day here. So you need money when you get here. You're going to have to budget some money. I didn't actually have a lot of money. I had very little money, which was fine for me because my host family pays a lot of the things and I just needed to get some things in order. I couldn't shop. It was winter, so that was difficult. Well, it was winter for me. It was the end of winter for them. It was getting warmer. I was freezing. I was freezing every single day. And I don't even know how I've survived this long. And then what else do you need? Visa cost me $87. I I can't think of what else you'd need, but you have more costs that you need to factor in into this move. If I was to give anyone advice when it comes to this journey, starting this journey and making your way here, I would say give it a lot of time. Do this and give it the 1.5 year. That should be your timeline. So start working on finding an appointment. Put your name on the waiting list today. Then start the next session of au pairing. Start that exam, your A1, when your name is already on the waiting list. Now, don't wait 3 months because I don't know how quickly they're going through the au pair list. I don't know if there are any other au pairs who've recently come here, but yeah, that's what you need to do. So put your name on the waiting list, start your A1, go into your A2 with your name on the waiting list. And then start to maintain the language. I paid for a tutor who helped me. She was actually a German girl or German woman. She's born and raised in Germany and she's currently based in the UK. I used Italki to talk to her. I could do this because I was an online English teacher, so I just transferred my teaching credits to my student account and that made it easy. So here and there I would have 30-minute conversation classes. Make use of other platforms where you can do a language exchange. You teach people English, they teach you German, like Hello Talk. Watch German films like Der ganze Film. What's that guy's name? Nicolas Ver. I don't know. Listen to that. Maintain your language. Think about it. Go through your notebooks sometimes. It helps. Even if you can't communicate, understanding really helps you. It helps you pull apart and like put together certain details maybe that you've only learned in your books, and it's important that you speak. Now, I do live in Berlin, so I have it much easier than most people. First of all, people speak English here. There's so many expats. Some people will never learn the language, even when they live here. So it's really not a big deal for me. I can navigate the entire city in English. I opt not to. I speak to everyone in German. It is what it is. But if you go somewhere else, if you go into places like Bavaria where they are more traditional and they are really stuck in speaking their language, rightfully so, I don't expect someone to come to Zimbabwe and expect us to speak to them in English. I really don't. You will speak to you in the language that we want, and it is what it is. Most people will speak what they can, what they're most comfortable in. And so it's just important that you focus on understanding instruction, knowing safety words, learn the language through your crutch phrases. Sometimes you want to visualize every word, but sometimes you just need to know phrases. You need to know the phrases for things like nice to meet you. You need to just say it off the top of your head. You need to know how to ask for certain things. You need to know the ways to ask for directions. Think of the language in phrases because you speak in phrases, not just in words. And I think that's all I have to say for today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it has been informative. If you have any questions as it pertains to my au pair experience, things that you'd like to know, things that you would want assistance with, please don't be afraid to send me a message on Instagram at KFShamian, on Twitter at KFShamian, or in the comment section. And of course, I do have a TikTok where I try and share little snippets of my life here in Germany, what my day looks like, the things that I do with the kids. And maybe I should do a video explaining what my week looks like as an au pair for the kind of family that I have. But as for today, that's all I have to say, and I will see you in the next video.